God story. Okay, I've been telling you about these venues. Now I think we're on the third or fourth venue. We only had like 4. So, remember me telling you about the grant God had me write to get $5,000, which is amazing. It was super easy because he makes things easy. He likes to lavish stuff on his children. So, wrote the grant again. So for this one, and I told you my mom had died from cancer and stuff like that. So he tells me about, and I'd gotten into like researching supernatural healing because God can do anything. He's shown me through so many things that I absolutely believe he can do anything. And I was amazed by his supernatural healing of people. There's plenty of people that have been healed and revivals, Azusa Street, things like that. And so for this venue, he was talking a lot about healing. So I'm thinking, this is it. This is going to be like major revival. People are going to be healed. He said, set up a healing room. Did even like create like this thing so people can sign, yes, I've been healed, to have the faith to do that. I'm thinking tumors are going to fall off, all kinds of things. But as I pray more, he's showing me, and I've researched this, people can be healed by his foods. A lot of stuff has just come from food. It's crazy how much we have screwed up our lives with food and the greed that comes from it. A lot of it just goes back to money. Anyways, so not only was he showing me like supernatural healing stuff, but how everyone can naturally heal themselves. In this country, obesity and cancer running rapid. What are they down to? Like 1 in every 2 people are going to have cancer now. So he was also showing me about stuff like juicing and smoothies and just overall nutrition. And he had said, if I heal people supernaturally, they're just going to go out and get sick again. Aha! That makes sense. Because a lot of us didn't even know how we got sick in the first place. Everything from all the pesticides, toxins, GMOs, electromagnetic blah, blah, blahs. I mean, there's so much we don't even know about. Anyways, but if you research, you'll start finding stuff. So, he wanted me to write a grant. He had shown me a book. One of the gals that was in the group, like the core planning team, she had healed herself of fibromyalgia through juicing, which I knew nothing about. And so one day I stopped by her house and I'm like, can you just kind of show me what this stuff is all about? Because God's talking to me about it and I don't get it. And so she took out this big juicer, like, I don't know, a mega something or I don't know. And she just showed me how to juice carrots. She pretty much had healed herself with carrots, like one food. I tried it and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so good. It tastes great. It doesn't taste like carrots. It tastes like sugar juice. I don't know. I like sweets. So I'm like, okay, because God had told me at the venue he wants to give away, because we're giving away coffee mainly, but there's a lot of kids there. And he's like, I want you to give away smoothies. I don't know if I'd ever made a smoothie in my life. They weren't very big at the stores yet. So I told her, I'm like, God wants us to give away smoothies. And she just like, it rang a bell in her. She's like, yeah. I mean, she knew all kinds of people that have been healed. She actually was healed once supernaturally. And then she was also healed. God kind of gave it back to her so she could heal herself with food so that she could teach others. So, because he has a plan for everything. So she was totally on board. She totally understood. And I don't know if she'd shown me a book or She probably did. She'd probably show me a book. Malcolmus, a gal and her husband, they both healed themselves of a bunch of terrible stuff. And they teach people, how they can do it. It was like God's Garden or something. Yeah, it was a book. It was like spiral bound. And all I knew is God wanted us to give away that book to people that came to the venue. I don't really know the whole picture. I just, he tells me stuff and I just try and do it. So, told the core team, said, can I do the grant again? And then this time we buy books, and so they were cool with like spending half the money on books and the other half for the venue stuff. So the book's kind of expensive. I'm thinking I can't buy many books with this money. And so I got a hold of the publisher, told them what we were doing, discounted the books a ton, and I was able to get like 125 books, something like that, maybe 200. So we had one room for supernatural healing and one room for healing naturally. And the gal with the smoothie, she knew other people, so what they did is they made up a bunch of smoothies earlier for everybody to try, and people could have them free. And then in the other room, they were juicing, so people could people don't know till you know. So they were juicing in front of people, and then they could try the live enzymes and how it tastes and everything, because people and vegetables kind of like thinking, I don't want to drink any vegetables. And then they were giving away the books. So that room was taken care of. I didn't have to do that. I thought, the supernatural healing room, I'm going to get to sit in there and just witness the amazing thing God's going to do. Woke up that morning, praying, God, what do you want me to do? And he says he wants me down in the art area. The creation station is what it was called. And it was always kids. And I'm an elementary art teacher. I used to be a high school teacher, but I'm now an elementary art teacher. And I was like, more kids. Okay. Kind of negative. I was negative. Like, I deal with kids all day long. I have a lot of kids. Okay. I really want to do the healing room. And he was firm. I pretty much have never heard him be that firm. He was like, you must not know what I have called you to. Hadn't heard that tone before. Or else it was like, you must not understand what I've called you to. And I just, from that, I was like, okay, that must be very important that the children understand, or whoever comes, but it was mainly children, their mothers came to my area. Must be pretty important that the kids who are the youth that will have more time to share things about God with people than the older people, which totally makes sense. Plus, they're more open to hearing him and seeing what he has to say and then creating it. There's a lot of innocence there. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'll do that. But I was kind of worried about that room, like people wouldn't understand the healing room. So that night comes along, I'm in the healing room. All of a sudden I see like the one charismatic church in town. They had a youth pastor that we'd heard people were getting healed through that area, those people and his teenage people he would send out. All of a sudden, there he is. Told him what the room was. Boom. He's got it. God sent someone who knew nothing about it for that night to take care of the room. And then after that came in another couple who had actually taught my husband and I a lot about totally, I don't know, I'm just going to say they helped us understand the stuff that was going on with me. And they've had, I was actually delivered at their house, and she knew about angels, and at the time I was feeling them and seeing them, and I could point out where they were, and she knew too. It was amazing. We had a major encounter with the Lord. So they were, all of a sudden they were there, and they were helping with the room too, and so I absolutely wasn't needed. God had brought people who already know and can, help people with supernatural healing, and he had gifted them in that area. So I was fine. I went down to my creation station and helped again, kids or people know. And we did have someone else who was going to fill in for that area. And when I went down there, it was absolute chaos. And pretty much, if you've ever dealt with kids in art supplies, stuff was slung everywhere. So, because we had clay too. Anyways, after cleaning up that, then, got to work with the kids. And then we also had another worship artist at that time who pretty much drew the teenage crowd and older people. And then that night we had a foam pit. I mean, so fun. God let us just be wild and crazy, and he created amazing, results. And again, these are still Christians coming to this. People who have, said they've given their lives to the Lord. Again, I was just totally didn't understand it, but eventually God showed me that there's a lot of people that have, said the prayer, but don't know him. Don't know him. And he's amazing. And he just wanted everybody to experience him for him. The environment was just wonderful with him. I mean, it was just everybody. You felt great being there, and just in his presence. Even if they didn't know how to identify that was his presence. And they were just, wonderful nights. So I realized he had said people that absolutely know nothing about him, that have no involvement with him, actually are easier to, I don't know what to say, convert, or they will come to know him quicker than people who have a religious mindset. So he was actually trying to draw his own people closer and to truly know him, so that they'd be more accepting and biased and love their neighbor as themselves and love him first. Okay, that's that story. Thank you.